What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. We are pleased to present you with episode 25. We are a quarter of the way to 100 of State of Affairs. So thanks for joining us. And yeah, SW, how are you doing today, man?
Doing pretty good.
Nice. Same here, man. Yeah, I think this will be, I mean, I say this every episode, this will be more of a laid back. I think the only episode that wasn't laid back was actually like the Charlie Kirk episodes, actually, for obvious reasons. But yeah, I feel like this episode will be like a return to form for us. So, gonna get into some race stuff, and there's
Some
actually gonna
fun
be a
topics.
yeah, the race topic is always it's evergreen and it's I mean I consider myself a black person expert, so yeah, I think especially when you tie that into the education system, I think it's perfect. Um Really quickly, I know it's what everybody's been talking about. We don't have to spend too long on this, but what's your what's we didn't really even text about it too much, but what's your general take on the H-1B thing? What Trump had to say, what kind of the reaction from the right is. Do you have anything
I
you
don't
have there?
really. I mean, that's the thing. It's kind of like I don't want to say just noise, ignore it, because that's not what I'm implying. But it
Hmm.
on a personal level, I kind of just I don't know. It's not good. I don't
Right.
like I don't like what he said. Somebody actually had a really good point that you almost have to only put him in hostile interviews because when you put him in friendly interviews, he says the dumbest things possible
Hmm.
because he's kind of just laid back and maybe not thinking. Again, that's
Yeah.
not yeah, might sound like I'm playing trusting
No,
and
no, 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 but that's interesting though, because it is really in these like friendly interviews where he trips himself up, actually.
it's like he never says anything like that in a hostile interview.
Right, right. Yeah, that is interesting. I actually never thought of that angle. It is always like these Fox News interviews where I think it's because just his personality, he just assumes that he has a friendly audience, so he can just kind of say whatever. Um, yeah, dude, I mean, you saw my video, what I posted on Insta, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty upset about it. I'm not super surprised. I'm more upset from the angle of like what you and I talk about, like our we had a great episode, The War on Young White Men. And it's more I'm upset because I'm disappointed in the administration because, this was supposed to be the admin that was, obviously I'm not a white guy, but like he was looking out for like young white guys to like move up and have a better quality of life and improve their wages. And for him to just kind of like I don't even want to dig in too much on because everybody's really digging into the line where he said there's no talent here. Let whatever let's just even subtract that line. Just kind of the flippancy that he's just like, oh well, they're white people in an unemployment line. They can't do anything. It's like, what do you want them to do? I don't know what job, and we've talked about this, like, what jobs do you like expect these people to do?
I don't even think he's thinking that deep on it. I think it's
Mm.
one of those things where it's just like I think he says a lot. I don't think he thinks about what he says a lot.
I saw a really good tweet. It said something like you can almost see Trump coming to this point of view because he asked an advisor, "Hey, why can't we just give these jobs to Americans?" And then the advisor says, "No, sir, we can't do that. They're not qualified to do these jobs." And Trump just says, "Oh, okay." And then goes about his way. So even if he has like the right inclination sometimes, if he's siphoned off from like Twitter, which he used to not be, if he's siphoned off from people giving him actual feedback, he'll just kind of go with whatever his
He'll go with the
advisors.
flow. Or I think
Yeah, yeah.
he's. I don't. It's funny because the left always paints him as like Hitler and then like the nastiest, meanest person.
Yeah.
I think he's too nice,
He's actually very democratic, actually.
and
Dude, that's exactly
yeah.
what Nick said about Kanye, was that Kanye is actually like for all of his he's a fascist Nazi. He's actually like big on getting buy-in from people and big on like kind of democratizing the situation and getting feedback and stuff. So I could see that with Trump. A lot of these people, they actually do try to get feedback from people and they correctly or incorrectly, they trust kind of the wrong people. And I think that's what's happened with Trump because his inclinations were right in 2016. He was originally against H-1Bs. And I think people have just gotten in his ear at this point. And have kind of just
But I
given
also,
him
for me, it's also like a wait and see thing. Where I mean, obviously, I'd hope it doesn't come true, but it's I don't know. It's kind of like wait and see.
fair enough. Yeah, yeah, I get it. Yeah, I mean, we're definitely going to see what happens. So, yeah, that just threw me for a loop a little bit, but yeah, I mean, hey, obviously, I hope that that doesn't come to fruition, but um,
But again, always chimp, always chimp. That's how
exactly,
you
yeah.
get things done.
No, that's true. That's true. And that's like a really quickly before we jump into the education thing. I think I said this in my video, but some of my biggest frustration is not even with, and I know I kind of said the opposite on Twitter. I am starting to get really annoyed with Trump himself, but even more so than that is I'm more frustrated with like the John Doyles, the Red Eagle politics of the world, the people who will, no matter what he says, will never chimp. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like there are things that he says that do rightfully deserve pushback and need
I
to be
feel like a
pushed back
lot of
on.
people chimping. I can't remember the situation. I think there's been one or two situations where he said something, people chimped, and then it was walked back.
Yeah, yeah, I can't, I know exactly what you're talking about, or I don't know exactly, but I know that there were at least one or two instances like that because he does have a lot of people around him who are on Twitter, who are monitoring the situation. So for better or for
But I
worse, he
also
does
wonder
know.
too if it's like with the H1B one, and especially if like he's so isolated from the rest of the
Exactly.
world that he only sees the Vivek's Hammett Dillon or what's her name?
Harmeet
Harmeet.
Dillon. Yeah, yeah, Harmeet
Yeah,
Dillon.
he only sees like the well-spoken upper class. Like I
Yeah.
hate using this word, but for the most part, they are pretty assimilated.
Yeah, I
Like,
completely
but you know
agree
what
that
I mean. Like, and
yeah,
I
like
feel like
how often
he's
is he
not.
going into a 7-Eleven and asking
Yeah,
for like
or
a pack
he's
of
not in,
Marlboros and the guy
and like he's
doesn't know
not.
what Marlboro is?
Yeah, or he's like not in the Dallas burbs, like
That is true.
being like, oh wow, this family of like 15 lives right next door to me.
That is a good point that he is very yeah, that is
So
true
like
that
he
yeah.
only see it's like what it's like when like very upper class leftists will be like, I think urban crime's a myth. My friend
Right.
Steve is a black doctor, and
Or
it's
no,
like,
he's a professor at Columbia and he would never rob me. It's like we've talked about, even the most upper class black family is only 1 degree removed from like the most degenerate forms of like degenerate violence that you
exactly.
can ever imagine.
It's just it's goofy, but I really do think
That is
that
a good
he's
point.
so isolated from what we deal with on the ground floor of things
Hmm.
that if you only hear from, I hate saying this, but like really good shining representatives, and it just who check off all the boxes of that we would say. I mean, they might be evil people with
Sure.
agendas,
Yeah, but I
but
get what you're saying. Yeah.
they're presented as okay, wow, like if they're like him, then they must be good, but it's not. It's it's almost being too nice, and I don't think he wants to be the bad guy, and I think that's his biggest fault.
Yes.
Is
Yeah, dude. There
he's
is
kind of more like he always at the end of the day thinks he can salvage half the country not hating him.
right. And see, that's so true. Like for all the people that really say, I mean, there probably was a time, and probably to an extent he still is fighting for the people. Like I understand that concept. I get why people would think that of Trump. But for all the people that think that, I don't think they realize that he really wants to be beloved by like the New York Times, by ABC, by NBC. Like he deeply cares about being considered a great guy. And I don't think a lot
Well,
of people understand that.
I think there's elements of the right. And I might get crucified for saying this that really don't have good optics. And they don't
Oh,
care to have good optics. So the problem ends up being is he looks at that and goes, why do I want to be why do I want to be for these people? Which I know it's
right.
you can say they're his most loyal, yada yada yada, but I think that is a big problem with a lot of right optics is
Hmm.
if you're gonna be a Spurg or
Hmm.
like a proud Spurg or just like a Candace Owens or just a
Hmm.
completely insane schizo presenting yourself as basically that.
Hmm.
It's he's gonna look at that and be like, I don't want to like no, I'd rather go to the people who can at least put on the mask of optics
Well,
for
and
10 minutes.
Indians are notoriously
They're
some of
good
the
brown
best.
nosers,
They are
no
some of the
pun
best.
intended.
Literally, they are some of the best brown nosers and ass kissers that
But
you
they're
could
not
ever
even good
imagine.
at it. It's just that's the thing. It's like they're not even good at it. It's just it's I think they get so much benefit of the doubt because they're not out committing violent crimes.
Oh, 100%.
And I
That's
think
yes.
that and that's why I think people overlook all the other stuff. And that
Right.
the other like if you don't have close interactions with them,
Hmm.
even if it's just like once in a blue moon,
Hmm.
you're just like, oh, it's just a nice family down the corner. They just make different food.
Exactly. Yeah, there was this actually ties in really well. We can probably jump into our the race topic because everything just ties in. That's why I like this show. It's so seamless. It's all one thing. I was talking with a friend of mine who I went to middle school with, and he's on his journey of getting red pilled slowly. So we've been talking politics for like 10 years at this point. But he messaged me the other day, and he'll send me like these like not racist, but like to him they're like edgy racist videos of like black students fighting in the hallway. And he'll say something to me like, or he did say something to me like, what, dude, why is it like this? Why can't they just not behave? I mean, it's clearly a cultural problem. And what's funny with the friend that I'm talking about is I went to middle school with him and I was one of maybe four or five black kids in the middle
Was this
school.
private Catholic middle school?
Kindergarten through eighth.
Okay.
Yeah. So there were only maybe four or five black kids, me included, in that mix. And what I told him, and this kind of like brain broke him a little bit. I was like, dude, the reason that you think that this behavior is so like outlandish and insane is because like not to pat myself on the back, but it's because you grew up with people like me, honestly. Like it's because you grew up thinking that like the four black kids at St. Monica Catholic School represent like what's going on out in the real world. And he was like, damn, no. He was like, no, that can't be true. No. And then I had to send him the stats on, something like 90% of black high schoolers are not reading at a proficient level. And the black illiteracy rate in 10th grade is at like 50% or something. So people do have this skewed view of like what really goes on in like the trenches. Um,
It's interesting because so I the school system I went to was very affluent, was probably one of the most affluent neighborhoods in the county around the city.
mhm,
And, it was, I would say maybe 5% black.
mhm,
So like out of 800, maybe 50 or something like that.
right.
But it was pretty much all, it's called the 220 program here, but it was all busing. So like
Yeah. Yeah.
we would have, there would be fights. There would be like, it's weird because then it's like there's still a lot of people who ended up being really annoying libtards, but they got to like kind of see that angle of it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's weird. Everything kind of coexisted, but like in a weird way, a lot of black students were like worshipped because it's late 2000s, like
Yeah.
rap.
Yeah.
It was
It's
almost
Obama era. Yeah.
oh like yeah, like because yeah, that was junior year, and it's like it was pretty ingrained throughout the whole 2000s. So like a lot of the black kids who went to our school system were there with their siblings.
Uh-huh.
So it's like it's weird. It's like there would be like multiple eras, and just so it's just kind of like weird that it was kind of it's like you have an affluent school system, but then it was almost like like a show that like the affluent white kids like liked it almost in like a television show way.
Yeah, yeah. They were just close enough to it to where it doesn't impact them so they
It's like a
can
Boondock skit or something. Like it's something that one of those like mid 2010s black directors would have made a movie on, like Dear White People or something.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I remember that. I remember, dude, that is a memory unlocked, dude. I remember the the Dear White People era. And that was when I was like that was when I was still like in my libertarian, like very like egalitarian racial phase. And I was like, yeah, this they don't understand this about black people. Like little did I realize I was like able to be propagandized. So luckily I stepped out of that. But yeah, I do remember that era. That was crazy.
What's I was
No,
gonna
no,
say
go.
what's
You're
funny
good.
though is like some of these kids would like almost in an antebellum way. You become friends with a black kid who like in kindergarten, and for the most part, you would be in school. It would because you'd go to the same elementary. You went to the same middle school, but it's all within the same system. And like some of these kids would be like raised by a lot of these white families.
Oh, interesting. What were they like adopted or something?
Not even adopted, just like they, spend so much time over there. But
Oh,
then like
yeah,
you'd always
yeah.
see like the Facebook posts like a couple years ago, well, I was abused and I was you like I don't
There
know
is
if I
this
can
Yeah, there is this like retconning that goes on with minorities who grew up in like a great like the
like
perfect
Colin
example is like
Kaepernick.
Colin Kaepernick. Exactly. Like you know he had a great life. And I know it's like trite at this point to talk about Colin Kaepernick, but like he is like the textbook example of being treated great by white people. And then like because of his circumstances later in life, he has to retcon it and act like it was actually like a perfect example is like the white savior complex. I was watching a TikTok the other day and it was this black woman imitating movies that have a white savior complex in them, and she's
Well, I
making
feel
fun
like
of
black
white
women would
people.
be like very like hostile to this because it never happens to them. It's only ever
I know,
black dudes.
I know exactly. It's yeah, there may be like a sports angle to that where it's like the blind side where they really want to invest in like the
Oh yeah,
sports
or it's
star.
like, a kid's friends with if like if a black kid from a poor neighborhood goes to school and he becomes friends with a richer white kid and they play sports together
Well,
like their whole lives.
it's like
It's
we've
just
talked about before. It's that guys actually have more of an ability to see. And I know I'm not saying this like in a cucked way, like we all just need to see red, white, and blue, but I am saying that like guys, when they link up together, they can actually see beyond race. They can see each other just as guys.
and I think one of the most harmful things is that's actually gone away a lot since
It has
2020. And
100%.
I think that's an unknown aspect of why a lot of racial relations have kind of crumbled.
Yeah, yeah, that is very true. That whole thing of like,
But then
the
it's bizarre because then you see like a lot of Zoomers where they're like full wigger and
uh
like, they only hang out with black people and it's just bizarre
yeah, yeah,
because you have
exactly.
different angles from where it's like you either have to be that
Uh-huh.
or it's like nothing. Or
Yeah,
there used to be like a middle ground.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that is interesting, man. I know exactly what you mean. You got me thinking about
The
my
broccoli
upbringing now.
hair,
The broccoli hair,
the hype beast clothes.
and what's so funny about the Wiggers is that they're never actually a part of the community. All it takes is one time for them to say nigga when they're rapping a song, and
And
all
it's
it takes
over.
and it's over, and they might be dead. Your next thing you know, you're Ethan Liming laying dead on a
And
basketball court.
then all the other wigger simps will be like, "See,
See,
he
yeah,
crossed the line. I'm not
that's
like that."
that's why I go shh when the N word comes up in a song. Like, dude, you're cucked. You're basically cucked. So yeah, man, it's insane. I guess on that note, we can jump into the topics for the day. Um, so I think we actually hit this at a good time because I just saw that Jared Taylor, um, he just shared this story also. So Jared Taylor just recently took this video, like yesterday. I thought we were behind on this story, but I guess we're not actually.
Oh,
Um,
he posted the Grambling video.
yeah, yeah, Jared Taylor just got done quote tweeting this video yesterday. So I thought we were behind on it, but we're not. So this is what happened um, between Bethune-Cookman and Grambling State. If people who don't follow sports at all, Grambling State is an HBCU.
Aren't both?
I don't think Bethune-Cookman is.
I thought
Bethune-Cookman,
Bethune.
that's a
I
good,
thought it
yeah.
was, or am I confusing it?
Oh, it is. It is. Yep, you're right. I didn't realize that. I had a I actually had a white friend who went to Bethune-Cookman
You
back when I was in
actually
high
get
school.
really sweet benefits. I had a sociology professor at community college from Tennessee State, and he would tell us white kids like, yeah, if you ever go to Tennessee State or Grambling, like they actually do have like sweet benefits to meet their quotas, even though like I don't know if that's still the same now, but like 10 years ago he goes, they have to meet their own quotas, so like you'll be good.
That's
Also,
so funny.
they posted like they actually posted something. It was the HBCU conference champ golf team, and it was literally like three light skinned dudes and four white kids.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, man, it's wild scene. Where was it? Right before. Okay, so yeah. So here's the fight. You're starting to see more and more of this. And I don't know that this is like a new thing, but literally thank God for the invention of the smartphone because without the smartphone, people would just not believe that because what
You'd have to rely on getting the footage from Grambling State.
right or like a body cam without the internet, how would you even get body cam footage, And
Yeah,
what a lot of people's like pie in the sky idea is that once black people go to college, they drop their violent ways and they become like Coleman Hughes or Ben Carson or something. And it's like, no, this is what's going on. This is the reality. So this was the fight between the two HBCU schools that happened at a what was supposed to be an organized football game. I love this guy. I love this guy. You can
the
tell
camera guy.
no, 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 no. They got number 23 in black.
What
The
was he
guy,
doing?
he's
He's
doing
doing
the
the exaggerated.
the exagger.
Why do they do the
I know
exaggerated? Like it's like they watched a cartoon about boxing, and they
exactly.
always do like the exaggerated, almost Irish style,
That's what I was gonna say. It
like
reminds
the
me of like
Notre Dame mascot.
the fighting Irish, like, come here, I'm gonna sock you across the mouth. You know what? Like, why are you doing this? They always do this. It's never like just a straight, because if you watch, I mean, look, there are trashy white people, obviously, I get that. But for the most part, when you watch white people fight, especially like more country whites, they like understand like ground and pound. They
It's a lot more
understand
grappling. It's not
there's
this goofy
grappling.
like
Yeah.
exaggerated like boxing stance.
Yeah, yeah. So exactly. I thought of the Fighting
I
Irish too.
tweeted that like a I tweeted that like a month ago when one of these videos came out, and I was like, why do they always do the exaggerated boxing stance?
It's every time. And then he walks away.
I like how nobody's trying to break anything up.
No.
Like if this was Bama versus Texas,
But here's the thing, if you break it up, you're as much at risk from both sides of like getting killed, basically. Like you
true, but
can't
I mean even the demographics at a lot of different at the other D1 schools are similar, but there's still I think more it still gets broken up. This is just like there's not even an attempt to de-escalate. It's like
yeah,
letting a fire just like burn itself out.
yeah, it reminds me of the fights that you see in high schools among black students where people are like, where are the administrators? Where's the principal? Where's the teacher? I think they literally do in a lot of these black spaces where there is just like unrestrained violence. I think their thinking is like, well, we just got to let the kids fight it out.
You
Because
know,
if you do,
if somebody looks like they're gonna get killed, we might step in.
yeah, maybe. And even that's a maybe because a lot of times like you get stomping on the head, that kind of stuff. Um, yeah. Yeah, so I mean, and what's funny is that these are D1 football programs,
No, they're
or they're
I
not.
think they're either FCS or D2.
Oh, no, you're right. They're FCS. That's right. Okay, that's fair. But even so, like you would expect that these would be kind of more controlled environments, and they're just not.
Well, that's what you're always sold. You're always sold like that you're a bigot if you don't think that they're Yes, or if it's like a military academy.
Exactly. Like yeah, there is this image of like the HBCU being like literally a military academy, and that's just not the case. Um, oh man, there's a video we can probably when we get to the TikTok portion, there's a really good video of this actually. But okay, so here's the Grambling coach, and this is even better content to look at. So this is him in the interview afterwards, um, explaining the fight or something. I haven't watched all this yet, so I'm a
When
little
you play
curious.
here,
Oh my God, here we go. Deion Sanders over here. Okay.
you got to make sure, as a coach, support staff, any that all your players come down. If you're gonna walk down there and take your time, and now it's 3 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock, and we're standing on the stairs, and you got 4 or 5 kids who's just walking down, taking their time. Listen to that. At the end of the day, I'm thinking like, well, no, they know what they're doing. They taking their time, so we're trying to give them the respect. So by the
Here
time
we go.
we
The
we got to
respect.
go, we can't wait on 2 players. But they should never leave their players. Who leaves their players? Who leaves their players over there knowing that we got to come down? But see, that's what I'm talking about. That's the disrespect stuff, and we're not going to tolerate
There we go.
disrespect here at Grambling. You won't disrespect us. We're going to meet disrespect with disrespect
There we go.
because
Oh my
be
God.
responsible. Get your kids out the locker room. Make them get to the field. They came down on the field. They walked on the field. That's disrespecting the game, first of all. So that's my perspective. And I told him after the game, I said, you can't leave your kids up there. You can't leave your kids up there. So we talked. I know we're going to hear, I'm going to hear from my AD. I'll talk to my AD. He'll talk to his AD. And, I told him, I said, if they find us, then you know what?
I still don't even know what this is about.
I don't really understand either. What it sounds like he's saying is that so it depends on who was home and who's away. It sounds like Grambling State was home and that Bethune-Cookman was taking too long to get out of the tunnel or something. And one of the tweets that I saw was it said that this was at the end of the first half. So maybe they were trying to clear the field to get to their locker room, and they were saying that like Bethune-Cookman was like taking too long or something. But like I mean, it's the same thing with any of these things. This reminds me of like when there's a shooting that happens at a gas station, and he's laughing about it. He thinks this is funny. Um, but you see these shootings at a gas station, and they're like, "Well, I was disrespected, so therefore I had to unload my switch on a group of 30 people." None of this warrants violence at all. Like none of this is the cause. None of this warrants starting to swing on people and doing an all-out brawl. Um, what I liken it to is like, what if, let's say Nick Saban was still coaching at Bama, dude, if his athletes were in an all-out brawl like this, dude, he would end the game and he would make them like run until they throw up. If assuming this is pre-NIL
Oh yeah.
and that they
It's
can transfer out. But like
and
old
the
school Nick Saban would just not have any part of this.
or the thing would be let's beat them on the field.
Yeah,
They
exactly. Like,
they disrespect, like you can say, oh, they disrespect us, so we're gonna put 60 on them.
well, but also the person who started the fight, if this was Nick Saban's team, wouldn't be playing in the second half.
Oh no, you wouldn't. I mean, even they wouldn't even have a scholarship.
No, no, no. He would cut the player from the team. You know what I mean?
And
And
I
yeah,
think this is the big problem where, and I think you've seen the videos too. Well, and this goes like the guy. Even it's interesting because I was just looking up his background, and he's been like a wide receiver, quarterback coach at LSU and Nebraska, and like
man,
which is crazy. But the thing is, this kind of attitude is why football is becoming a very trashy game that
yes, yes,
I think you're seeing a lot of white kids switch to soccer, lacrosse, hockey. Um, it just, I mean, in some places, because I think what you're seeing, and you've seen the videos too, like look at those coaches that tried to fight Cam Newton at his own camp.
I know, I know.
It's
Uh,
like there's this trashy. It's funny because like they tried to rehabilitate the game's image so much after that stupid Will Smith movie
uh-huh,
that basically what ended up happening is now you get a bunch of trashy black coaches who are talking about disrespect, and
exactly.
it's making its way up the levels. And I think
Right.
that could be what ultimately does football in. Not even like safety, wink, wink. Like that would be the justification. But I think this is kind of where things are heading.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder, like, man, I can't find the tweet that I had, but somebody said exactly what you just said. Um, Somebody said on Twitter that exactly like this is why you're starting to see less and less suburban whites. And I have a little bit of a skewed view because I live in Texas, especially like suburban DFW, where like corn-fed whites still play football. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
But
like
then but then you got like South Dallas.
exactly, exactly. And there are schools in South Dallas that you can almost see playing in this Grambling game. Like the corn-fed whites are not going to be doing this, but there is all that is to say, there is a reason you're seeing an exodus from like especially youth football among white kids. Um, and somebody tweeted that and they said that white kids, like you just said, are moving to soccer, baseball. What I would actually say is that they're moving to basketball a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
No, they're moving to basketball a lot more, even though
it's
like you don't
it's
have the
counterintuitive.
in-game.
It's counterintuitive. It's completely counterintuitive, but they're moving to basketball because in basketball it's more of a
Well, if a
so
fight starts in basketball, it's not. It's like it's hard to get injured by another player being
right,
dangerous in basketball. Whereas football, it's like you get all the white coaches who have to basically walk on eggshells and like if you're a white football coach in the suburbs, you have to walk on eggshells. You
100%.
can't be too mean.
You can't be
If a
too mean
kid,
or else
if a
that's yeah, that looks like a slave owner, you know.
exactly, or the white parents are going to say how this is unsafe.
Right.
This is a toxic culture, and so like there's way more policing in the sense that if a kid leads with his head on his own volition because
Right.
he watches all these videos, the coach is going to get blamed. He's not coaching safe tackling,
Yeah, I
and
would actually
but
put it
then
sorry,
oh,
go ahead.
no,
No,
what
no,
are
no,
you
go.
going to say?
I was just going to say that I put it a little bit even more on freedom of association actually, because the football leagues at the youth level, they're not as big on select teams as baseball and basketball are. So basketball, if you do want to become like the next Cooper Flag or the next, I don't know who the next white phenom is, but even like black,
Well, and you only have 12 spots. It's
exactly.
perfect. You
And
only
also
have 12 spots. You can really limit it.
exactly. And also that select team atmosphere that baseball and basketball are really big on, that allows people to build teams from their own neighborhood or their own, maybe their own suburb. You're seeing a
Or
lot of
their
that.
own parents. And
Exactly.
within where the parents are all kind of on the same page.
And a lot of people don't know this, but that's literally what the Cooper Flag story is. So I don't know how conscious it was with Flag's family. I'm not saying that they're like, like I'm not saying Cooper Flag watches Nick Fuentes or that his family loves Nick or anything, but I am
Wait,
saying
somebody had a theory that he does.
no.
No,
I did
you don't
not.
remember here. No, there was somebody
No
who said
way.
somebody had a theory that he does or he is a. So I can't remember. Oh yeah, because there's somebody super chatted in. They're like, I'm a professional athlete.
That's
I
right.
can't.
Somebody.
And they're like, what if it's Cooper Flag?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I responded to that person. I said Tyler Hero Groiper, Cooper Flag
No,
Groiper.
Tyler
No, no,
Hero's a
Tyler Hero was a
dork
winger.
from fucking or Tyler Hero's from
You're
my
right.
neighborhood, and everyone hates him.
That's so funny. But that is literally what Cooper Flag did, though, or that's what his family did for him. Was Cooper Flag is from Maine. We all know the demographics of Maine, and what his family did. You can even look back on old pictures, old videos. He was playing in Maine, like Maine high school, like at the largest high schools in Maine.
They didn't send him to Oak Hill.
Exactly. Not yet. Not yet. Now, so here's the thing. The reason that basketball is a great sport for this is because you can play and look at Nikola Jokic is a great example of this. You can play among your own, I'll just say it, play among your own race until you build the physical skills to really go toe to toe with somebody who's going to be jumping over you. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
If Cooper Flag had joined the all black team, not even Oak Hill, I'm even talking about before that, these select AAU teams where he's the only white kid on the team. If Cooper Flagg had done that from the age of 8 through 17 when he became
He'd
a
be
nat,
Tyler Hero. He'd
he
just be an
well,
annoying.
I
He'd
would
be an
even
annoying d bag.
I would go a step further. I would say that we wouldn't really even know his name because he would have never gotten the attention on the
Well,
team
and
and would have never been given the ball.
he ends up on some spiteful black coach's team and gets buried.
Exactly. Or they just think that he's the white boy shooter and they just throw him in the corner. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
when he plays with all white kids, he builds his skills, and this is just physiologically anatom anatomically true. Um, white people do hit puberty at a later time than black people do. That's part of the reason for like the over sexuality just from like a scientific perspective.
Interesting.
That is a reason for a lot of the over sexuality in the black community. That is it's not just cultural. People completely miss the mark on that. The reason you see 10-year-old black girls and 11-year-old black girls like twerking and like being weirdly sexual at the age where I was going to like birthday parties and stuff is because puberty does hit sooner in black people. It's just
Well, that would
factual.
make. Well, now that I'm thinking about it, it's like you would always see kind of be a handful of black kids who would be able to dunk or grab rim
Exactly.
early, and then all of a
Exactly.
sudden by senior year, it's like, oh, that's not special
And then everybody caught up to them.
because Mikey grew from 5'10" to 6'7", and now
Exactly.
he's jamming on, or now he's like the center on the team.
Exactly. So when you look at it from that angle, it makes complete sense, just even from a scientific angle of like, yeah, I'm going to put my kid with not even, it doesn't even have to be racial, not to cuck out on race, but it doesn't even have to be. It just has to be that you're playing with people and kids at your skill level for as long as you can until you're hurting their prospects. And that's what they did with Cooper Flagg. He played at that level for as long as he could. And then by the time he busted out of that, he was ready to go. I forgot where he went. He didn't go to Oak Hill. He went to maybe
He
Modern Day.
he went.
One of
I think he went somewhere like that, but he was also playing. Somebody would do somebody, and he was actually scrimmaging with like Celtics players or pretty early on.
yes,
But like they
yes.
kept it kind of like quiet.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that's really the way to go here. And yeah, you are kind of starting to see, you have MGTOW. You're starting to see WGTOW, even with like sports, even with the school district. So,
Well,
I'm
and
a
it's
I'm a
like
big
you
fan
could
of that.
even break it down to like almost a class level, where
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
football in a lot of ways. Like you still have big programs in affluent neighborhoods or in affluent areas, but it's really resonating, I think, more in lower middle class communities. I wouldn't say hood, but like that step above hood that but not quite like middle class or upper middle class, where it's
Right.
like the kind of like the combined income of like 80 a year versus like nothing.
Yeah. I'm trying to
Where
find the videos. No, sorry, go
and
for it.
you've seen the videos I'm talking about where it's like it'll be like Friday night tykes or something, and
Uh-huh.
it'll be like a black coach, black players, and the black moms will be like getting all ratchet and crazy. Well, have you seen the clip? I can't. They had like it was a black Pop Warner team,
Uh-huh.
and they were had the parents do Oklahoma drills against the kids,
Yes. Yes.
and
Yes.
the mom picked one of the kids up. The mom was like 240, and she
Uh-huh.
picked one of the kids up and slammed him like head first on the ground.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah,
then there was another where like they were just trucking these little kids, and like it
I'm
was
trying to
just
I'm
it
trying
was
to find the
bad.
video. It's gonna bug
But
me
it's
because I
but
know
I guess the
exactly what
point.
you're talking
I
about.
guess this ties into like the first thing you and I talked about with that TJ McConnell video is you have these lousy people running youth sports and they're enabling bad behavior to where these kids turn into Russell Westbrooks
Exactly.
and Draymond
Exactly.
Greens where it's us against them, like they can do no wrong. No, and this is where you need the corny old white coach
Who says
telling the hothead black kid, shut the hell up, sit
right?
down, and I'm benching you for a game so you can learn to control to control yourself.
There's
But
better
the problem
videos.
is,
There's better videos than this, but check this out. This is kind of what we're talking about here. This isn't perfect because there are much worse ones than this, but like this is the demographic that is getting into youth football right now.
The head good with a slick mouth. You better not run up on me. If you do, then I'ma trip out. You better not run up on me. If you do, then I'ma trip out. 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 Trip out. Trip out. Trip out. Trip out.
you know, he's not. Whoever's coaching this team isn't teaching safe tackling.
Right? Like, do you think this coach is teaching like don't lead with your head? No. He's
I mean,
teaching
he
them
might
like
fill out the paperwork and say what he needs to say to keep his certifications.
right, right. Yeah, I mean, there's much worse ones than this. It's like where they're coming out with the fog machine and the dad is in all
Oh, they got
Gucci.
visors. Like we
They
weren't
have
even allowed to
visors.
wear visors. Like even
Dude,
in high school, you couldn't wear a visor.
dude, we were saying like the Our Father and the Hail Mary on one knee before each middle school game when I played football. And granted, that was in like Catholic school football, but it was still pretty. I mean, it's Texas suburban football. It was still, you were still getting ready to play at like the higher level, like high schools in Dallas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So even in my case, it's like, dude, I'm glad I stayed away from football or else I wouldn't be smart. My brain would be broken. But yeah, like you just said, so just compare what we just saw because I know what people will say. They'll say, "Well, no, this is a professional athlete." So
No,
how you go
compare him to other players in that league, and it's night
exactly.
and day.
Well, in theory, all those people in college at Grambling State and Bethune-Cookman want to be in the pros. So just compare that to how TJ McConnell, if anybody, this is a very sports heavy episode, so I assume that anybody who doesn't like sports is already tuned
Too
out.
bad.
Yeah, it's too bad. This is a sports episode, bro. I'm a
We've been
sports ball.
waiting for one like
Yeah,
this for a
yeah,
while.
dude. I'm a complete sports ball normie here. I don't care. I'm a sports cell on this one. So yeah, this is TJ McConnell. He's probably one of the no, I wouldn't say one of the well, there aren't many white players, so he's probably one of the best white players in the
Well,
NBA.
he's made
He's
a
a
very
s-
solid career for
he's
him,
made
and
a name for himself. He's made a career for himself. He's a role
he
player.
he's the like the Wes Welker, like Julian Edelman type,
He get
where
he gets out there
he's
and he gets you a bucket. You know, he'll
yeah, and I mean he's had a few. I think he's had a triple double, or he's come close to a
oh,
triple
dude,
double a few times.
dude, he's the only reason that the Pacers stayed in the game in Game 7 against the Thunder last summer.
Yeah.
After Halliburton tore his Achilles, it was McConnell who kept
Well, I've
them in
watched
the
enough
game.
games of him versus the Bucks where all of a sudden he plays. It's the stereotype. He's the grinder. He
He's a
plays really
grinder,
hard, and
right?
I mean he's made if he could find a role on any team in the NBA.
100%.
And
Yeah,
I think like what happened in Indy kind of solidified that. But again, it's like his so like the context of this clip is these these kids and they all have seats right there. Granted, it's Utah, so they're probably not saying anything too bad.
uh-huh.
But they're right. Those seats are right next to the Pacers bench. So apparently they've been jawing at each like they were getting in like some I wouldn't say jawing, but they were getting in some banter, as TJ you'll see TJ calls it throughout the game.
Yeah. And I know people, like you just said, people will say, "Oh, well, it's Utah. How bad could it be?" Well, you know what I've seen from both Russell Westbrook and Donovan Mitchell in
I
Utah
saw
games?
Draymond have a guy throw. Draymond
He had a
had
guy
like
he got a guy
he had in
thrown out.
Milwaukee. He had him thrown out because
Dude,
some 40-year-old black dude said something about you got to check in, and Draymond was like, "He just threatened my life. Kick him out."
um
And people will always so like the Zoomers. What is that? Like 2 3 years ago, like that Zoomer couple who was sitting courtside at the Pacers game and said, "Made so." They were being very edgy, and they said something to LeBron about like, "I hope your son dies" or something, some
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
Zoomer edgy thing, and then people treated that like a hate crime.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to find it's fine. There's so much sports stuff that you're unlocking now. But yeah, dude, Donovan Mitchell and Russell Westbrook. I forget if it was Russ or D Mitch. One of them in a Utah Jazz game had a fan putting their phone in his face. He took the phone and threw it. I think it may have been when Donovan Mitchell
I think that was Russ because
and he
I think what
anybody else would
Mitch
face charges for that. Well, Mitch used
yeah
to play for
well
Utah, but yeah.
yeah but Mitchell used to like Mitchell was did the very dirty move when he went to the Cavs. He basically said something like, "It's nice
Yes.
being in Cleveland because there's people who
Yeah.
look like me," and it was like very disrespectful
And
to a team
it's
that he played for like
and
almost 8 years.
who showed him nothing but love. You know what I mean? Like
You know, it's
it's
not like they booed him out of town and
right,
or
right.
he said, "Screw you guys, I'm leaving."
Exactly. So yeah, look and perfect setup for this clip. So yeah, TJ McConnell talks to the fans who have been jawing at him all game.
Did you get in trouble? Really?
Smile on his face. He walks up smiling.
Well, and he's more like stunned that they got in trouble.
Yeah, yeah. He says, "You guys got in trouble, really?" And the reason they got in trouble is because the NBA is so freaking paranoid.
And you know that the security guard was like, I gotta jump on this. I gotta jump on this."
Because if you don't, the next thing you know, you're going to have claims from the opposing team saying racial slurs were hurled, even if it's at TJ McConnell. They cannot allow any slight criticism of the players.
Oh, that happened in Utah too.
It happened at
Somebody,
BYU, the BYU Duke volleyball game. That
well,
happened.
that happened. There was that, but that literally happened at a Jazz game too, and that was like a huge deal in like 2021. I don't
Yeah.
remember what the situation was exactly, but that pretty much happened. And and then I remember it was like a whole thing where Utah really had to, it's like when, like in baseball too, when some drunken, Irish Bostonian hurled the hard R at Adam Jones.
Yeah, dude. Okay, so TJ McConnell walked up.
Did you get in trouble? Really? Why? It's all fun. It's all good.
Picture with you then?
Sure.
Jake.
I mean, it's just fun banter.
Yeah.
It's fun banter, exactly.
It's a good dude, man.
Thanks for clearing that up.
What a star. Tyrese! What up, Tyrese? He's their best player. Yeah. He's hurt. You broke his
How do you
Achilles.
compare that?
Exactly.
Like we said, compare that to Russell Westbrook. I mean, we talked about this last night over text. Neither of us, Westbrook wasn't one of those guys that those guys that you hate when they're in college, you hate when they're in the pros,
Yep.
and you just hate them their entire career. He's somebody that people wanted to love,
Exactly.
and people did love him for a while because he played granted until his knees started to go, but he played such an explosive game that you would kill to have Russell on your team at the
Oh,
time.
always, dude. And he was ironically he was playing in like a white city. And then what happens after his skills start to kind of decline is he goes from this tough nose, nothing bothers me to that fan said he called me Westbrook. And this is literally what Westbrook was complaining about at certain points. Westbrook said, they call me Westbrick instead of Westbrook. I ain't going to allow no fan to call me outside of my name around my children. It's like, dude, it's
Well,
Westbrook. Calm
was that
down,
in
man.
Dallas when Chris Paul's mom claimed she got choked by
Yes,
a
dude.
fan?
I'll tell you, okay, some backstory lore here with the Chris Paul when he was in Phoenix. So one of my friends, I've mentioned him before. He owns a vintage clothing store in Deep Ellum. He's a black guy. Used to play basketball at Stephen F. Austin, I believe, or Tarleton State, and it's a D1 school in Texas. He was actually the one who got that video that went national, actually. So that video of Chris Paul and that whole argument with the family, he got that video, and yeah, you're right. He claimed that his mom got choked, and it was in Dallas. You're 100% right.
And it was something like he put his hand, and it's like I've been to so many NBA games, or I should like if I had to count how many NBA games I've been to since I mean I went to games as a kid, but I went to probably from age 20 to about like 26. I went to 30 games a year,
Oh,
including
nice. Okay.
playoffs. Like
Okay.
well, I mean, it was like right before Giannis, the early years of Giannis, and tickets were dirt. Like I mean, we gamed the system where you'd get $10 student tickets, or like the company or like the companies I worked for at the time, nobody was a big Bucks fan, so they'd have season
Right.
tickets and they'd say here, and like it would be awesome because me and some buddies would get to sit like lower level. But
Right.
point being, I've been to so many games that if something like that happened at a game,
Mhm.
it would the game would almost have to stop. It would be such a
Exactly.
chaotic scene, especially that close to the court.
Well, what I was going to say with TJ McConnell, and it's kind of funny because Tyrese Halliburton is kind of the opposite of what I'm about to say, but can you even see any black player who would kind of hear heckling from fans and say, "You got in trouble?" Oh no, man, it's all good. It's just heckling.
I can't think of it.
There
And
aren't,
that
and
I
the
think
only
that goes with the AAU culture
it
of
does exactly.
they're
Exactly
coddled and consider and like they're
the
like I
only
don't know, they take themselves too seriously. In
the
wrestling
only
it's called being a mark for yourself.
and ironically the only counter that I can really think of is Tyrese Halliburton, who's also in this video.
But then his dad tried to get into a fight with Giannis
Oh well,
after a game.
his
Well,
dad is like
he's from a
he
very
is,
trashy part of my state that
and what's
I always joke if you talk about Fond du Lac, Oconomowoc, or no, Fond du Lac, Oshkosh, and it's called the Paper Valley. It's like more closer to Green Bay, and it's all around a lake. I don't know why, but it's always the jerkiest hicks imaginable from there, and
well,
they're
what's so
always like
sorry.
the types that go to a bar and start fights.
Well, it's because his dad, and like, no shade because I like to have a drink too and now and then, but his dad was definitely drunk when he approached Giannis in that
Oh
video.
yeah.
And there's a parallel there with Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes' dad, Patrick Mahomes is this relatively well-spoken, kind of nerdy, light-skinned guy, kind of like me. He has that froggy voice, I'm aware, but his dad is like an old school, like, say, man, and he's like an alcoholic and has like 4 DUIs. So a lot of these guys that end up like Tyrese Halliburton, like light skin, they like white girls, they grew up around white people. Their dads are like absolute trash, actually. And that's not a sneak diss at my own dad. My dad isn't like that, but like these Tyrese Halliburton types, and it goes into what we were just saying earlier, these types, even the most well-spoken, well-to-do black person is only 1 degree removed from absolute degeneracy. And I'm sorry, but that's just true. Here's the Russell Westbrook clip. This also happened in Dallas. This was the clip that got me to be anti-Westbrook, and this was when he was still playing for the Thunder. This is when my dislike of Westbrook started.
I'm gonna say one thing. I'll fuck him up. He said,
I'll fuck him up.
I promise you. See, I'm playing. I swear to God. I swear to God. I'll fuck you up. You and your wife. I'll fuck you up. No, fuck that.
You and your wife. I mean, that's something that I feel like at some point in time would have got him suspended.
Exactly. Like, why are we And this was when my dislike of Westbrook started and it's funny because this wasn't really when his skills were starting to decline per se, but this was when I realized he's not actually just this cool little dancing guy who likes to dance before games and plays his heart out. He is actually very sensitive. And, I know it's trite to say at this point. I don't know if you agree, but, you know, if you're worth 40 million, 50 million, 100 million, 200 million in some of these cases, it just wouldn't bother me what people are saying.
Exactly. I mean,
That's
it's
just not
almost like
that's
you
not to
need,
say just deal with being disrespected, but that is to
but you
say
almost
like
gotta they almost gotta start learning from like WWE wrestlers. Granted, it's
yeah,
different nowadays, but like I watch a lot of clips about interviews from wrestlers from like the 2000s, early 2000s and 90s. And like the ones who were heels that were like the bad guys, they would say we loved it. We
right,
relished in it. Like, oh yeah, you want to talk to me? I'm gonna like go with it. But then they'd also say like, if somebody saw me in public, I wouldn't. They can say that. I don't care. At the end of the day, as long as they don't cross the line, they're not physically trying to fight me.
exactly,
Why
exactly.
do you care? Like you like these a lot of these basketball players, they should relish in it. They should jaw back, get into some banter, like TJ
But
said.
that's what they did in the 90s, and I'm not trying to be
Oh
like an
yeah.
old head here, but like they would jaw back and forth. That's not jawing back. That's like threatening like violence to a fan who
Or you're like,
says
yeah, maybe like on the way out, if somebody says something, you just flip them the bird,
and be like,
whatever.
we won, F you. Like that's
Yeah,
base.
or if
That's
you lose,
base.
just be like, F you.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
we'll see y'all in a few
I'll
weeks,
F you and your wife up.
Like what
Like
is that? That's like a threat. That's a threat. That's
that's
not even
overly
cool.
sensitive, and that shouldn't be like it's just pathetic and sad.
Yeah. Let's jump into damn, we if you get either of us going on the sports thing, we'll just go off. I love that. Let's jump into the school thing. We can probably do this for about 15 minutes, 10 or 15 minutes. I did want to tie it back into the H-1B thing really quick. We don't have to go in on that, but this is an important point to remember when you're watching the videos we're about to look
Oh,
at.
actually, sorry, I got one more thing that I was going to mention about Westbrook. It was
Oh yeah, yeah,
really
yeah.
interesting
Go for it.
because I remember this from a while back where I used to listen to Bill Simmons regularly,
Yeah,
and
he's not bad.
Simmons he's very connected
Yeah,
to the league, and this is back. I think Durant was even still on the Warriors at the time, or he might have just went to the Warriors. He might have still been on the Thunder. He was like, "Yeah, we tried to get Russell on the pod, and he said absolutely not. That we disrespect him, and that we were saying horrible things about him." And Simmons was like, "I've never said anything bad about him." And Simmons was like, "I can't even think of any like I might have pointed out a low field goal percentage, but he was like, he's that much of a petty little diva
but
that he wouldn't
even
even go on a podcast where Bill Simmons would kiss his butt for
no,
an
but
hour."
I actually believe Russell Westbrook there that he views even criticizing his field goal percentage as like a slight to his family's name. You know what I mean? The
It's
fact
crazy.
the fact that and he really jumped down Skip and I don't particularly care for Skip Bayless, like whatever, he's a clown. But like he really went at Skip Bayless and said that he was like attacking his family and bringing violence upon his family because Skip Bayless would call him
Jeez.
Westbrick instead of Westbrook. And
It's
he
almost
went,
as funny as Richard Sherman being like, I remember that clip when he quote debated Skip on First Take, and he goes,
yes,
"I went to Stanford. I
yeah,
have a
dude,
Stanford education."
dude, that just makes me completely against the university system. Like, why, you know what? If what we got out of you going to Stanford was like lecturing white people about why you can never be criticized, I don't want you to have an education, actually. Like,
Like, just don't even go to class. Let's stop pretending.
yeah, dude, let's just do like minor league football. Just don't go to college. Like let's do away with this pretense that like, the black kids who are going to go who are playing at Bama, they do both. They go to practice hard and then they go study calculus hard. Can we just do away with that notion? They're not doing that. They don't go to
Even less
class.
now that they basically get a paycheck,
I
and
know they're basically like
as soon as they
professional
get that
athletes.
money,
Yeah. Yeah.
as soon as it would be funny because like I think LeBron's made the joke so far, and Giannis even made a joke tweet about playing for Marquette. And now there's ex G League players
Who are going back to
who
college.
are basically able to go back. But it'll be real interesting about the sanctity of college basketball if all of a sudden LeBron magically shows up on Ohio State's roster in like
Yeah,
2 3
dude.
years.
Let's do away with it, man. Let's do away with the pretense because it's not at the athletic level, it's not, especially with basketball and football.
Basketball's been a joke for years because at least
Basketball's
football,
been a
it's like
joke, right?
if you're a beast in football, there's still not a
But
huge chance you're
but if
starting
you
as a
are but
freshman.
if you're like a second string long snapper in football, there is at least some expectation that you're thinking about your future and you're like, hey,
Oh
maybe I should
yeah.
get a degree in accounting. I'm not going to make it to the league. The NBA or the NCAA players who play basketball, they they're like even if they don't go to the NBA, they are going to play some form of basketball generally,
Well,
whether it's
here's the weirdest
overseas
thing
or whatever.
and I think this is the weirdest thing I've seen with basketball, and this is a buddy of mine. His cousin did this. He in his 5 years at college, he was a walk on at like 3 of the 5 teams, and I think maybe preferred walk on at one. I don't think he ever made scholarship, but
Uh-huh.
like it's like a I think he's like a 6 foot white point guard that's not crazy athletic or anything,
No, but that's
but
a
it's
good
like
size for a guard.
yeah, but it's like I said to my buddy once, I was like, what's his goal? Because he's clearly not going to the NBA. So is it just a love of the game thing? Because that would be such a if it's like, oh, I love the game, but I'm a student athlete, like it's
I mean,
almost like that's gaming. Or granted, it's not like it's making money on it, but it's almost like pretending to be a college student just to be on 5 different basketball teams in 5 years.
yeah, I mean, a lot of times the play is to, oops, let me turn off my Bluetooth speaker. A lot of times the play is for them to play overseas. So like, so I went to school at the middle school I was telling you about. I went to school with Jordan Spieth, and his younger brother Steven was a great basketball player. He played at Jesuit, which plays all the public schools. He ended up playing in I think Argentina or Chile for a while, and then moved to Europe. So a lot of times the play, and that's what I'm saying with with the college basketball thing. Even the players that aren't going to make it to the NBA are still going to be um, very well off and will be like millionaires of some sort, like maybe low level millionaires, but they're still going to be fine. And but
Well, it's like there is a
that's why
joke
they
where,
never need to go to class then.
well, some of the Euro players, like someone made a good point that even let's say you're getting paid 60 grand American, like whatever it is in euros, but you're getting, let's say you're a 23-year-old, you played 4 years of college basketball, and you're getting 60 grand a year to play in Europe. That's not
Yeah,
a bad life.
that's not a bad life at all. That's what
No, you don't. It's not like it's not like you're getting paid 10,000 a year. You got to find a job on the side. Like you're
that's what one of
basically getting low level corporate wage to play basketball.
that's what
Sounds like a good time to me.
that's what one of my basketball coaches in high school did when I was like still in that world. He played professional German basketball before he came back and coached at the high school level, and he had nothing but like glowing things to say about playing in Germany. He said that they would make about, like you just said, between like 60 to 80,000 a year, depending on like what level you were. And the big thing is that all your expenses are paid for. So your apartment's paid for, they pay for your food, they pay for your transportation. That's all just
Well, and
extra
it's the
money.
running joke that's basically a millionaire by Europort standards.
Yeah, exactly. He can pay for air conditioning. Whoa.
He can buy a round of drinks at the bar.
He might even have a car. He might have a car to leave town.
The
Um,
European mind can't comprehend.
it literally can't, dude. It's Europores. I'm sorry if you're Euro listening to this. There is a German viewer that we have who comments on our stuff, who likes our stuff actually. I'm sorry if you're listening to this, man, but yeah, your quality of life just can't even compare. So sorry to say it. But yeah, let's jump into the teacher thing, I guess, for the last 10 minutes or so.
Sounds
Um,
good.
I did want to tie it into the H-1B thing really quick. So
I'm
somebody,
surprised that's not a field that's covered under H-1B.
what, athletes?
No, teachers.
Oh, no, no, no. It is. It is.
Oh,
No, no,
okay.
no. It is. I found. Damn, we might even. I can't find it now. But there was an H1. You know the government
The whole
website.
list where it could you
The
could see
list.
what
Yes,
that's where
you
people
can
found like 7-Eleven clerk and all
exactly
that goofy stuff.
that exact format. People found today English teachers in North Carolina that are being applied for by H1B visas. So there are English teacher positions being filled by H1B people. So that's real. It may not be like every subject necessarily, but they are starting to creep in even on the teacher game. So
Oh,
Bill
it's bad.
Mitchell,
It's funny. You don't. The old joke used to be you didn't have to deal with an Indian teacher till you were in college.
exactly. Exactly. But no, I mean even at the high school level, and I can't wait to see what those Indian interactions will be like with lily white suburban girls. I can't wait to see what that's going to look like.
Oh yeah,
Definitely
nothing's gonna
nothing
go wrong.
nothing will go wrong there. They
No Bob
definitely
and
won't.
Vagine.
They will definitely not try to grab Bob and Vagine between class. So Bill Mitchell, one of Trump's biggest sycophants, said that I see many people getting bent today. I think he meant to say bent out of shape. I see many people getting bent today.
Oh, they are getting bent.
Well, well, no, people like him are getting bent, not people who are criticizing the H-1Bs. It's people like him. I see many people getting bent today over Trump's. Well, yeah, you're right. They are
I
getting
meant
bent.
the American people are getting
Yeah,
bent.
yeah, the American people are getting very bent over this. Um, Trump's H-1B comments and that how America doesn't have enough talent. Folks may not want to hear that, but our education system has gotten so bad that we just don't have much elite. That's such a ridiculous statement that we
Because it's
just
not
don't
true.
have.
If you remove
Oh,
if you
dude, that's
remove all those or all the horrible city schools,
oh, dude, that's what
it's a
the chart is
complete
gonna. Yeah,
yeah.
we don't have as much elite. We don't have as much elite talent as we need, especially in technology. It's just a fact. Oh, it's just a fact. Thanks, Bill. In China, children are trained to be software engineers. In America, many children can barely read. Wonder who that is. Rather than getting mad at Trump for speaking the truth, people should start to take education more seriously and stop with everyone's equal woke crap. Hey, SW, did you know that you're a woke tard for wanting your future children to have a good life? I don't know
Of
if you've ever
course.
thought of that. So yeah, when you look at I just want to lead with this before we get into the teacher thing. This is the 2022 PISA performance scores. So this is it's an exam that high school seniors from each country complete each year. If countries want to participate in it, they can. There's a reason you don't see India on this list. It's because they participated 1 year in 2009 and they ranked around Africa. It was so bad that India stopped participating in this. But this is probably one of the most instructive charts, and this is what's getting spammed in the replies of Vivek Ramaswamy, Dinesh D'Souza, Bill Mitchell types. So if you just break it down really quick, US Asians are at the top of the PISA scores. That is true. But that's because there's a selective factor there. It's because we are selecting for some of the highest IQ immigrants to be in the high schools. It's not like the high schooler who we're importing is going to be working at 7-Eleven. That happens in their 20s. So granted, I will grant you that US Asians who were heavily selected for will perform better. But
Do they count Indians with Asians?
yes, that is
Okay.
that yes, they do. And that's fair. That's a fair point.
Yeah, the
But
Indians just ride the Hans coattail.
exactly, yeah, I know. And that is true. It's probably being like if you were to remove Indians from this top one, it would probably be even more pronounced, the extent to which it's outperforming Singaporeans. So it has US Asians number one, Singapore, Macau, Taiwan, Japan. Those
Well,
last
why is that a separate category? It's the same thing.
well, no,
Sorry.
those aren't US. Those aren't US. Those are
Oh,
their own countries.
okay.
Those are
Sorry.
so the ones in purple are US. The US ones are getting broken down.
Okay, sorry. We're recording this a little later than normal for those
No,
listening.
no, you're good. That's a
It's a
completely
little
valid.
later in the day than we're used to.
No, that's a completely valid call out though. Like,
I
why
was
would
gonna
US
be like,
Singaporeans?
what?
I agree with you, but no. These are their actual countries, and then the purplish pink ones are ones getting broken down by U.S. race. So U.S. Asians are at the top. U.S. Asians rank above Singaporean, Macau, Taiwanese, and Japanese. Now, those last four countries are countries we're told produce geniuses, while we create nothing but woke libtards who scroll TikTok. Oh, gee, what ranks right after Japan? U.S. whites. U.S. whites rank right after all these.
And the other thing with the Han in China is they have a giant industrial sector to pretty much set to bury people into.
Exactly. So
Like, and we don't have that.
we
So
sold that
we
off to
have
them. We sold that off to
exactly.
them.
So, like, I mean, you kind of see that with Amazon. I know we've talked about this in the past, how like if it's weird because we didn't have that like fallback company always hiring when we were growing up, but
Right.
it's just weird how like a lot of this stuff comes right to the forefront because it's just a matter of we're not like China where we can just bury people into the industrial sector and
Right.
move on.
There was that at one point, but that's just not there anymore because we sold that to China and India, basically.
Yep.
So you have U.S. whites that rank right after all these countries that we're told are so much smarter than us, but they rank U.S. whites alone rank above Hong Kong, Estonia, Canada, Ireland. Next, you have U.S. of two or more races, which I would like to see that broken
That's
down
like
by
it's probably white Asian,
it's white
like
Asian, maybe like white Hispanic. Um, yeah, that's definitely. And look, I'm not knocking myself here, but that's probably not like black white. Even though black white would probably rank above U.S. blacks, but below U.S. Hispanic. Maybe that's debatable. That's
I've
beside
seen
the
the
point.
Edgars.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. U.S. of two or more races ranks above Switzerland, Australia, Finland, New Zealand, the UK, Poland, Czechia, and Denmark. And then you have U.S. students as a whole, the aggregate of U.S. students. Now, way down here in the territory of Slovenia, damn, U.S. blacks are in the territory of U.S. of Iceland, actually. I'm not
That's pretty
shilling them, but like
impressive.
that is actually that's better than what we're told. But let's just say this. What if we eliminated, and I don't mean eliminate like violently, I mean like if their numbers were not taken into account. If we eliminated US blacks and US Hispanics from this, United States as a whole would probably be like right around here above Switzerland. So I say this all to keep to for people to keep in mind that all this talk that US students are like retarded and can't read or anything, that is what is going on in the videos that we're about to watch. That's what's happening here. Um, so yeah, any thoughts on that really quick about the chart?
I mean, it all
I think
makes sense, but it's if you're not a complete idiot, it's something you know, even whether you want to admit it or not.
unless you're just a brainwashed boomer, because boomers do really believe this though. They really think that
They
like
do because I think. Ugh, sorry for the yawn.
you're
They
good.
they see kind of the they selectively choose to be like, oh, all the kids are dumb and they're glued to iPads, and it ignores like the parents who don't do that. So
Right.
like they have this weird like reverse selection bias of they
Exactly.
only seek out.
I've literally talked about that on my account before on Twitter. I've said it's
It's like
or
and
on Instagram. It's called I think it's something like inverted racial pattern recognition or
well,
something.
it's true because like remember Tide Pods. And like,
Yes.
well, all you
Yes.
really have to do is go on right or GOP Boomer Twitter, and you see like they just cling to like the weirdest things. Like it's like they've watched too many Clint Eastwood movies, and they're like, "You kids and your Tide Pods, listen here. You don't want to talk to a real man like me because you better bring a lunch if you want to." They just try and put as many canned movie lines into like a mono. That's why I always laugh at whatever the latest copy pasta is
Right.
because it's
Right.
always just like I some of these boomers, you know, they're just like fully torqued, just like when they type out this monologue they practiced.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But
I
it's
just
always this. It's like the reverse selection bias of like they'll see like the nerdy gay little theater kid, and they'll be like, "This is the state of children today." It's like there's still Chad quarterbacks. There's still like it's just they need to convince themselves that everybody's a worthless loser.
exactly. Exactly. Because it justifies their own position.
One, it makes that it puts them over where they can be like, because I've always talked about how one of the examples I use is the boomer who had a city like who was like a DPW city worker and lived in like a shoebox little house that he probably bought in his late 30s. He loves dunking on student loans
Uh-huh.
because and he feels empowered because the millennial lawyer has to live on his block. The millennial lawyer's parents lived in a nice neighborhood and were better
Right.
than him. He knows it.
Right.
But because of the way economics turn, these boomers really love it because the lower tier of the boomers feel equal to the higher tier of the millennials who have been screwed by horrible economics.
By the
So
system
that's
that they
why
put in place.
exactly, or not even that they put like some of these like blue collar boomers are just
Well, yeah, that's
idiots
fair. That's fair. Yeah.
that they just they love the system
that
because they're better off.
that
But
their
they
generation
love,
put in place. Yeah.
but they love that these younger millennials are knocked down a peg to their level. They got they had to live in the shadows of the parents of these millennials and Zoomers, but the millennials and Zoomers are now. It's like they're on their level. You live on my block.
Right, right. Yeah, man. Yeah, I just think this chart is really instructive looking at just kind of some of the talking points about how stupid American students are. So yeah, let's take a look at what's going on the other side of the track. All right, so we'll just look at a couple of videos. I found this one. This one is one that happened, I think, 6 months ago or something. This is what the black teachers are doing. So when people talk about, the kids are dumb, blah, 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 the scores are low, these are the students and the teachers that are largely overseeing the low test scores
Oh,
among
I
American
wish I would
students.
have known we were going down this road because I saw a good one that I didn't save where it was like older black male teacher's arguing with a black girl, and he's like, "Yeah, tell your dad to come talk to me. Tell your dad. That's right. You gotta dig him up to come talk to me."
See, like, why are we going exactly? Like, why are
And the
we
whole
going?
lunchroom went,
Yeah,
"Oh!"
of
But it
course.
was like, but then it was interesting too, where the comments were conflicted because it was half like women being like, "That's her trauma." And the other half like, "That girl probably's terrible if she pushed him to that limit."
Yeah, yeah, exactly. There's always the defense.
Oh,
So
I remember this video where
remember
they're
this
braiding
one?
his hair.
There was the black teacher who's like the cool teacher, and that's always what they're going for. And they're braiding his hair because he's like cool.
Was this teacher getting his braids taken out by his students inappropriate?
Last Friday, 10 minutes before dismissal time, I decided to live stream my students helping me take my hair out.
So
Why are you live streaming as a teacher? Why are you live streaming?
He's
Why are
flexing.
and look, I'll apply this to like shitlib white teachers as well. Like, why are you live streaming your kid's reaction? I
Well, I
just don't.
feel like, well, I also feel like the shitlib white teachers are more just have the cool. These teachers want to be like friends with the student, where the shitlib white teachers want to be the elite cool kids, or like
Yeah,
they
yeah,
want to
that's
be the
true.
boss, and they love to draw the line
That is
simply
true.
for that. But
That is very
I
true.
do remember seeing this video.
But this is its own separate thing that I don't think people realize. And look, here's the other thing. I just realized this just now. They have, well, I take that back. I was going to say they have uniforms on, and
But
there's a
that's
crest.
normal at a
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
of.
actually, I take that. I was going to say that this is like a black private school, but it's not. Never mind. I take that back.
this science teacher live streamed his female students unbraiding his
Science
hair
teacher.
for hours.
Yeah,
One of my daughters came home from school and told me that they were unbraiding their teacher's hair, especially if it was a man. They were
Uh-oh, black gender war.
Yeah, right.
or she won't be in that class anymore.
Well, he addressed the issue by explaining why he allowed the girls to touch his hair.
For a little context, I had a hair appointment immediately after school, and I needed my hair taken out beforehand.
He also went on to say this was a wholesome moment with his students.
I'm fortunate enough to have students that feel safe and comfortable around me. What I strive to do as an educator is be the teacher I wish I had grown up.
Plus, he said a lot of the students look at him as a big brother or father figure. So the internet has expressed shock.
That's a red
I'm
flag.
sorry. This guy's trying to get with them. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He would be down, and it's just, I mean, even if that's not true, it's just not appropriate, man. Like, I don't I don't know how else to explain it. A lot of these people,
There should be. Let's see. It's like you shouldn't.
there should be a
You don't want
barrier.
a teacher to be too much of a tyrant, but you don't want. You have to balance probably being a tyrant where they're not going to walk all over you with also not being too close.
Right. Right. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then so there was that one. There's this guy who you sent me who I had to look through his videos a little bit to find the one I was thinking of. This is also what's
It's
going
funny.
on.
Like I always, every time I see this, I think of Abbott Elementary and their version of how an inner city Philly school acts. Even though truth be told, I've never actually watched the show, but
Me
like
neither.
I just assume it's like I just assume for an urban Philly school, it's going to be the most egregious. It's going to be the most egregious whitewashing or blackwashing
Exactly.
imaginable.
Exactly. And this is what's going on there. This guy looks like he should be at an NBA YoungBoy
This guy
concert.
looks like he's like a fifth year senior.
And this guy isn't even the worst, honestly. Like I've watched some of his videos and he is sometimes like connecting with the students on a real level, but this just isn't appropriate. Like what happened to dress code? Like
What example does that set?
I know that sounds whitewashed of me to be like, well, why isn't he wearing a suit and tie? But like you said, there should be a
Not even
barrier.
that. Just khakis and a sweater.
Khakis and a button down or something, you know?
Or just even just like
What's
jeans
sad,
with a
I
button
honestly,
down.
and this
Yeah.
is all jokes aside, I mean this with like the bottom of my heart.
Like he
All
has
seriousness.
he has the blunt rolling stance. You know what I mean? When you see like black people
Yes.
leaned up and they have both hands in their lap like they're getting ready to roll a blunt. That's what he's doing, bro. He's leaned up against the wall like he's breaking down a blunt. Like that's literally what this is.
Honestly, what's sad, I honestly think, and this is all jokes aside, I mean this with like the bottom of my heart. All seriousness, there's probably 3 people in here that is for sure not going to summer school. 3, maybe 4.
Well, whose fault is that?
So y'all feel this?
Whose fault is that? And it's just kind of treating it like a trivial and maybe he's not, but the students definitely are like, "Oh, that's so funny." Like and
But
also
it's one of those because he said I couldn't hear too much, but he basically just said only but 3 of y'all are going to summer school, or
right.
only 3 are going to summer school. What do you
No,
hear?
he said everyone except 3 of y'all are going to summer
That
school.
that falls on him.
Exactly.
AC is working as of now, but in the summertime it goes out. And y'all saw how it was out on Monday. It's hot.
He's talking about the AC.
So y'all like to wear hoodies. The realization is kicking in. Summer school is a month, and it's not free. It costs. Yes, summer school costs money. You thought you was gonna just waste these people's time?
It's all a big joke to them. Like these are the people that are bringing down the education scores, by the way. You know what I
Well,
mean?
and again, it's like it's gotten worse over the last decade because it's like the old joke, oh, well, Big Mama's gonna whoop me if I did bad at school. But the reality is, she's gonna just yell at the teacher.
Right,
She's gonna be like, "Why are you depriving my kid of an
Mhm.
education?
Why my baby in summer school? He ain't even do nothing."
Well, it's like I think I sent you a video a while back where it's like it was like the dad was it was like a black dude out of like Jersey, and like he was yelling at the principal. He's like, "You," because his kid got suspended for doing some kind of drawing with like violence or something, and he's
Uh-huh.
like, the new line they go with is, you're depriving of my kid their right to an education." And it's like it doesn't register that it's like you're involved in that as the parent.
Right, right.
These like they literally think they just throw the kid in school and like they just upload knowledge to their brain.
It's like the school to prison pipeline where they say that a kid is just walking down the hall and he slips in a hole and now he's in prison. That's the pipeline. It's like, no, there were actions that led up to this. Like,
Or
and
they'll
you're a part of
with
those
that
actions.
one they'll be like, oh, it's just because he gets wrongfully accused, and then like you find out, no, he wasn't wrongfully accused. He's actually a terrible kid who probably
Right.
should have been in trouble a lot more, and
Yeah.
probably should have been legal implicated.
We need to bring in if there isn't already, we need a school to prison pipeline actually, you know.
Well, that's the old joke where it's like where people are like, we're the most incarcerated. It's like actually we could be a little
Oh,
more
dude, we're
incarcerated.
so under incarcerated. That really triggers black people when you tell them that we actually have an under incarceration problem, but we absolutely do. And that's not even like a hot take. This has been said. We need to some people say we need to triple the prison population. We need to quintuple it, frankly, if we're just being honest. Like
Well,
if you
somebody had an interesting take on this recently, and I didn't see if Molyneux, because I know it goes against, I think what me, you, and him have talked about, where we don't believe in physical violence against kids.
Mhm.
But Australia was somebody in Australia, some goofball, or I should say goofball, because it's pretty based and actually logical, wanted to implement corporal punishment for violent crimes for teenagers. So, like, if a kid
Yeah,
steals a car, he gets caned.
I'm not totally opposed to that because it's all violence, really. Like locking them. I mean, according to Stefan Molyneux, I guess like putting them in prison would be enacting violence against the youth. Also, like what are we? And basically, all of Stefan Molyneux's points about being anti-spanking, they all depend on like good parents from the
Well, and
start.
I think there's also a difference between hitting your kid because of doing something relatively minor at home versus a Singapore style caning because it's the third time you stole a car.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would be for caning like 17-year-old black kids who steal a car and wear shiesty masks. Like what he's basically talking about is like good parents shouldn't hit their kids. Well, I mean, these aren't good parents and,
They're not good kids.
they're not good kids and all they know is violence. And I don't think it's the fact that they're not even being caned here. So like what's even the argument? Are they behaving poorly because the threat of going to jail is lingering like
But they're not. That's the thing. It's like,
yeah,
especially
exactly.
now, I'd say it's worse that they almost know that they won't.
Exactly. So if anything, we need more order. Like we need to go the other way, actually. Yeah, man. Yeah, dude, I think this is the longest episode we've done so far, actually.
You know, what are we almost on 2 hours?
Yeah, pretty close. Leave it to us to have the longest episode be a very sports centric episode, but hey, I love it, man. Um,
Exactly.
I'm probably cool with wrapping it up here if you are, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you guys enjoyed the show, of course, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Follow SW on X at SNOWMED34, SNOWMED34. And then on X, I'm Jordan B Videos, VIDE0S. I hope you enjoy and stay tuned. We'll have more content maybe coming out actually, I'm out of town this weekend, so we'll shoot for early next week.
That'd
Um,
be perfect.
yeah, we'll do probably Tuesdays work out well for me, so we'll shoot for Tuesday of next week, and I hope everyone enjoyed. I'll talk to you
Take
soon,
care,
man.
man.
All right, later.